Hi, everyone. Teresa Aker here from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. It's my pleasure today to bring you author Laura Moulton. How you doing, Laura?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's terrific. You have a great book, and we wanted to bring that forward. I'm just going to do a quick bio about you, Laura, and then I'm coming back to you. So, Laura is a trained trauma professional with a business since 2017. She is recently published author. She is creating a course curriculum for those healing from the grief in boundaries. The book is titled Boundaries, Grieving, the Living. So, congratulations, Laura. Well done.
Thank you.
Would you like to show your book right now?
Yeah, this is my book. It's on Amazon.
It looks beautiful. And Laura has a special for all of you. So watch this to the end because it's very important. She's going to be bringing something for you. So, Laura, let's start at the beginning.
I have my training as a therapist and I specialized in trauma. Like after I got my license and all my hours in, I had opened my business in 2017 where I was seeing 35 to 40 clients a week. And I had specialized with people healing from abuse. And I kind of was doing it before like 2020 hit and everybody was narcissistic and it wasn't really cool yet.
Yeah, I get that.
And so I was just noticing that I was repeating myself over and over. And I was like, this is something that keeps coming up all the time. And I didn't really realize that I was successfully helping people heal through these issues. And I was like, oh, I'm like using a method. And I didn't realize like I had a method that I was using that was working for people. I originally wrote it just to help more people than I could one-on-one. And it actually has caused me to shift. So I'm not doing therapy anymore. And I've moved into the coaching sphere.
Wonderful, Laura. Congratulations. So, first of all, this is very important work that you're doing. It's great that you're helping others and you're able to they could get the book and get some self-help, but they can also reach out to you, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's talk about the boundaries. What kind of boundaries are we talking about in what relationships?
Yeah. So a lot of our literature is about how we implement boundaries, which is really important and necessary. One of the things I kept running into with people is they kept saying things to me like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I just don't feel good about it. And I don't feel good about doing it. And every time I try, like it doesn't come out the way I want. And then I don't want to cause problems. And then I'm causing problems. And so I ran into a lot of resistance with people trying to implement boundaries. They were struggling because they had to deal with the fact that maybe what they wanted wasn't possible, and which was really devastating. So if you are somebody who's like has a parent or a significant other and you're bringing like, hey, I really need this. And I mean, it'd be nice if you did this for me and you showed up for me in these ways. And then they don't for years and years and years. A lot of us work super hard to do everything we can to get them to love us and show up for us. And sometimes they don't.
Let's say it's a parent and a child, and the child spends their whole life trying to impress the parent, trying to live up to the expectations of the parent. Perhaps they have siblings that they feel like are always getting all the attention and they're not. Is that the type of relationships you're talking about?
Absolutely. That one specifically is my bread and butter. I had specialized with the parent, child, adult children, trying to work to get a parent's affection. That was probably the one that I saw the most of relationship wise. There's quite a few others, significant others, exes, siblings that also came up, but absolutely that one was one of my more popular ones.
So, in the family dynamic we talked about earlier, perhaps you have a conflict with the parent, but the siblings perhaps kind of rally around the parent or rally around you, and the parent has to deal with that. Is that the kind of things that you would deal with as well? After the conflict is there and you bring it up to the parent, and the parent says, well, I'm not going to be able to do that for you in
Yes.
whatever capacity. And now also the siblings may not be happy with the whole situation.
Correct. Yes. So for a lot of the people that I've worked with that struggle with this, they absolutely are looking for their parent to love and show up for them. I just believe that it doesn't really matter what age we are. We want our parents to be proud of us. We
Yeah.
want them to love us. We want them to think that we're good at things that they're just proud to have us as children. I think this means a lot to us. Even if we're 80 years old, we still want to know that we make our parents proud. And I think that when that can't be or won't be fulfilled, I think there's just a lot of grief there that most of us are really scared to heal.
So is it common to have parents or, a relationship with your parent to say, I'm just not going to be able to do that? Like where, I mean, that must be devastating for a child of any age.
Absolutely. And again, my perspective might be different than maybe others because this is what I work with, right? So
Right. Right.
I'm surrounded by this a lot, people who are like me and grew up in a way where your parents don't choose you and they aren't, oh, people that want to show up for you in a way you really need them to show up for you. This is, of course, very, very different than like if they've passed, right? Like we're dealing with people who have electively chosen not to choose us anymore and they're still living. So it's grieving the living and respecting the decisions that they've made about us, even though they're very devastating.
So Laura, that person who has that with their parents, and it's really, really must be really hard for a person growing up with that. Their relationships down the road, you said it happened with your family. So as you have relationships with other people, you're coming from the lens of not being enough, not being able to own up to what your parents want in a relationship. They're not able to give you what you need. So it must be, you must be guarded almost to go into new relationships. Would that make sense?
Absolutely. And that is really funny that you bring that up. A lot of people that I see will come having issues with somebody else in their life. And they're like, I just can't figure this out. Like, why my kid or why my significant other? And, you get to kind of the root of this feeling of their you need them to show up and love you and you try and try and try and try and it's not happening. And for most of my people it kind of shows up with a lot of anxiety or a lot of anger and in extreme cases just people who are numb in their relationships and
And
it
I would think also the other person comes from a different background than
yeah,
you do. So let's say I come from a relationship with my parents that perhaps isn't good, but they come from a relationship where the parents loved them and cared for them and were a different, entirely different upbringing. It must be difficult for them to think, well, what is wrong with you? I mean, I don't even understand what your problem is, right? Because you have all these triggers, and the other person would think, what is wrong?
right, that's exactly right. And it's very confusing because when you've worked your whole life to just get the affection and attention that you need, just to know that like you're a desired person and wanted, and that doesn't happen for you. Man, we will do some things to try to make that happen for ourselves. And it's really painful because you end up watching this person struggle with all their relationships, as you really intellectually pointed out. Like they don't just struggle with not just grieving a relationship that means a lot, but they struggle with connecting with the people they want to connect with. And
Right.
that's how it spreads. Absolutely.
Wonderful. And so you work as soon as you're basically after the breakup or whatever relationship breaks down, you start from there. You start the healing process with your book and your tools and help people get through that. And you have courses as well, right? So you do one-on-one or group counseling. What
Yeah,
do you do?
so I'm in
You're
coaching and
coach.
I'm
You're
in the
right.
middle of creating an on like the course curriculum and I have like quizzes and assignments for like each stage and you're kind of going through and seeing like where you might have a difficult time articulating your needs or how much energy you're using in a relationship that you were hoping that you weren't, or looking at how the relationship isn't exactly what you would hope it would and what it is you would hope that isn't happening. So we kind of sift through all of that. And I'm going to be launching that here really soon. I'm really excited for this. And it's going to be groups and I am taking beta testers. So I'm super excited about this. And it's definitely my speed of the teaching and educating and like holding your hand through this painful process.
You're such a personable person. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking she's exactly who I'd want to talk to if I was going through all of this. So well done, Laura. Honestly, you're a lovely person and you're so kind and warm and generous. So I want to point that out and everybody can see that. So let's go from the family to relationships. Can we go to, relationships like when you're dating or married and you're with a person and they say, okay, you're just not my person anymore, but you love them and you care about them and you had a future in mind. Is that something you work with as well, Laura?
Absolutely. If you are somebody who is struggling with the goodbye, yeah, this book is for you. For hard on a professional side too. And I really care about the life change that can happen. So, like, if you are looking at these relationships and you're going, but I can make it happen. Like, what if they come around? And what if they love me? And what if I'm just enough? Or what if I did this? That life is so different than, okay, like, I am never going to get like what I need from this. A lot of people, I think, are really terrified of that pain. Well, because pain is painful. Yes, it
Mhm.
is. However, the life you have moving through that pain is just so different than the one when you're trying so hard to make people love, respect you.
So let's say I know from myself, I've certainly had people leave. But when I'm busy and confident and doing things for myself, it doesn't affect me the same as when I'm insecure, not succeeding, and perhaps thinking too much. So is that a fair statement?
Yes.
So when we have more confidence in ourselves, we can go forward in a better way. We can say, okay, they're not for me. That's okay. What your book is doing is getting people into that place to be able to say, it's okay. They're not in my world. I can function without them. Okay, the future I thought was going to happen isn't going to happen, but I'm okay. Does that make sense?
But in order to address these concerns well, there's quite a bit of emotional back work that has to happen.
Right.
And one of those things, you nailed it, it's self-worth and knowing what it is that means a lot to you and what you need out of relationships and not feeling bad about the fact that these things matter to you. And that is scary when you don't have the back work of, hey, this is what I really need and why. This is what matters to me. You have the articulation, you have the flow, you have the way to address conflict or the rejection as it's happening in real time. And so I really absolutely work with, it's actually one of my sections in my modules is self-worth and how to step into addressing with confidence, like these are things that I care about and these are my needs and this is
Yeah.
why this is important to me. Is this something that's okay with you?
Yeah.
And being able to articulate it, and it is up to the other party to accept or deny that.
Yeah, because they're going to deal with it, their life their way, and you're going to deal with it your way. But you're going through this rejection fear period, which you feel like, am I not good enough? And I can understand that because I've certainly been there where I've thought, oh, is it me? Is it something I did? Is it something I said? Like you said, even with your parents, it just never seems to be enough. And you go through all of those feelings and you do kind of get beaten up inside. And so your book is saying, okay, you've got these feelings, you're down, you're feeling insecure, you're sad, but let's help you build back up. That's what your book does for people, right?
I'm really grateful for the reviews on my book because they absolutely talk about the whole purpose of why I wrote this. I would say that my biggest repeated review was it feels like you're talking to a friend who is very blunt with what you need and that this is important because you're important and you need to get to doing this work. So I would say it validates what you need and it allows you to feel like you're not crazy. Like this is okay that you want these people to show up for you. You want these people to love you, but we can't be afraid of stepping into like they don't choose you, or maybe they just don't choose these particular things about you. And what you need and want might not ever come because it's not up to us. And we can't really make anyone do anything. I mean, we all want this so bad. Like, I just want them to love me. If I could just make them, so many of us say this, and I'm like, look, if I could make anyone do anything, I would start with my cat. Okay. Like, he does not choose me. So if I had these magical superpowers, I'd make him pick me as the favorite human of the house, but he does not. He picks my husband. And so believe that you're magical and can make people, love you, show up for you, have your back. That's a very hard life to live up to.
What a
And
great analogy, Laura. I like that. I have a cat too, and
yeah,
they just do their own thing, don't they? But you're right, you can't make them. And you're right,
no.
that's an excellent analogy where you want that relationship, but someone else happens to have a better bond with that person. And you do have that feeling. It's like, oh, why aren't they choosing me? It's not personal. They just have a relationship that connects with the other person for whatever reason. It's nothing that you've done wrong. It's just the way it is.
And that is true. And it's also true that it's okay that you take it personally. I take it personally. I'm like, you were my cat. What the heck? But if I'm not powerful enough to make my own grass grow or make my cat pick me, can you imagine the superpower it is to try to make someone show up for you or choose you or want to love you?
Very good
It's
point.
really difficult. And we can't make people do this. Therefore, we are now faced with grief. We are now faced with, oh my gosh, I'm not like chosen. I'm not, the one that they want, or maybe I'm not what they hoped for. And that's devastating. And when we avoid that grief, it turns into other symptoms. And then it's so funny because a lot of the people that I've seen in the past will say, I don't know why I'm just so anxious all the time, or I'm so controlling, or I'm just really angry. Like, weird. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, exactly. Where did it come from? I don't know.
Yeah,
You-
exactly. And you're like,
exactly.
okay. Yep.
Well, you're very good. I love that. Now, I understand you had a video kind of do some good news. Let's talk about that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had a video go viral. It has a 1.1 million views.
Congratulations.
That really surprised me. It was actually just a goofy trend I did, but I got quite a few followers after that, and I'm really grateful for people who were friendly to me about that because I wasn't expecting it. And it was a fun video, and it's on my Facebook. And I'd love for you to follow me on there. Speaking to the masses is rather new for me. So yeah, one-on-one and like what you're struggling with and small groups is really something I have a lot of skill in. And I want to help more people than I could one-on-one because I've just watched the transition of people's relationships. Like you can like the relationships you have and you can feel really at peace with what you want and what you can control, and this is possible. I'm not gonna lie, it's painful, but I've never had anybody regret it. I've never had anybody be like, oh, I'm so upset that I grieved that thing I needed to, like, I've just never heard it. And so
Yeah.
I just I want other people to know that you can do this. It is painful, it's hard, and you don't have to do it alone because it can be a longer journey, a more painful journey. And when somebody's here to, hold your hand and walk you through this and help with the self-worth and the accountability, like it changes the game and it allows for you to live your life in a direction that you want to quite a bit faster.
Wonderful. Laura, that I can just see why you're so successful. I mean, you're very friendly and you're warm and you're open and you're available for people to be able to reach out to. And while I'm there, let's say someone wanted to reach today. I realize you have Facebook. Is there anywhere where they can get you right now if they wanted to reach out?
Absolutely. I'm one of those weirdly attentive people. So, like, if you email me, like, I'll get back to you right away. That's on my website. It's mountainsideconsultingpllc.com. You can also get my free boundaries quiz there. And I have just to look at how you're dealing with energy in your relationships and how much energy you're using in your relationships and where you've maybe have crossed a boundary and haven't realized, like, oh, I do kind of feel that way in that relationship. Yeah, and so it kind of gives you an idea of where you're starting. So you can get that there on my website. You can email me from my website. You can absolutely DM me, Facebook and Instagram. I do apologize if you hit my spam and I haven't checked it in a bit, but I am pretty good at getting back to people. So yeah, I'm happy to chat with you if you want to get a hold of me.
Excellent. Now, we talked in the beginning that you have a special for everyone. So to all the viewers, Laura's bringing you something very special. So go ahead and tell them, Laura.
Yes. So, just for a thank you for everyone who followed me from this viral video, I wanted to give somebody a signed copy of my book. And all you have to do is comment and tell me why you would like the book and what you would hope it would do for you. And if you would like to get entered in twice, just tag somebody else who could use this. And I will just draw somebody out and I will let you know at the end of the week. And I'll just pin to the top who won. And if you want to send me your address, and I will mail you a signed copy.
Laura, thank you. So, all the viewers, you definitely want to do that because Laura has a lot of information for you. Everything that you're doing, Laura, is wonderful. So, I'm coming back to you because you've expressed a lot of tools and things that people can do throughout it and what they're going through in their trauma. You talked about a course that you have, the curriculum that you have. So, in order to reach you for that, where would they go? Where would they get the course?
Absolutely. So email me because I'm going to be taking beta testers. And
Okay,
so
great.
as soon as I'm done filming it, I am going to have like a cohort go through it with me where you do coaching twice a week.
Wonderful. Laura, thank you. Now, I want to thank you, first of all, for coming on today because you really are just helping people and you're doing commendable work, and that's really great. And if anybody wants to reach out to Laura, I'll make sure all her information is here on her biography. On here, you'll be able to reach out to her Facebook, any of the social media. You'll be able to take her quiz. You'll be able to do all of this and make sure you get your signed copy of the book. So well done, Laura. Thank you. Now, Laura, I have another question. Will you come back and see us again?
I'd love to. Yeah, this is really fun. Thank you.
Oh, good. I enjoyed having you today. You're just such a lovely lady. So thank you. And we definitely will have you back. So for everyone else, this is Teresa Aker from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. Please subscribe to my channel and make sure you get to all of Laura's Facebook and her social media. Thank you again. Bye-bye.